Hello, friends, and welcome to the Cold War Prepper. This is Lee. So, hi, Little Lone Prepper, and thanks, Lori's Thrifty Kitchen, for being here. Golly, I know you're having a rough time, and so just thank you for what you do. Triple G Farms, I just made a comment about you over on Integrative Preparedness sites. So, and I told Steve that I owe you a country fried steak dinner. So, I've got to make it up there to see you, meet you, and take you out to dinner. Thank you for everything you've done for his channel and for my channel. Just what a great follower. Thank you so much for being out there. So I didn't, as a matter of fact, I almost sent you an email asking you if you'd be willing to be on tonight with me, simply because of all the research you've done about the bank stocks that have gone down and the threats that causes that you posted on Steve's website. So if you feel like that would be something you'd be interested in, just let me know here in the chat, and I'll send you a link. I'll put a link out here for you to join me. Welcome, Scott. Welcome, Dave. Gosh, so many of you are so fantastic just being here. Thank you so much. Barrett Foley, that's a new name. Welcome. Golly, you're going to find we have some outstanding people here. And, feel free to chat. I have fantastic subscribers. I have outstanding moderators, and they keep the things going for me. Hello, Creative Redundancy. So anyhow, I don't have a program prepared for you tonight. I don't have anybody to interview. So I figured I would make up for something I tried to do this weekend. So Herdy Burke, who is my video tutor and everything else, came down. We spent an hour or two on the computer here last week, and we downloaded an editing program. He taught me how to use it. Everything looked good. And then after he left, of course, I downloaded something and tried to merge two videos. So I did part one was the rain barrel that I showed you in that short. And then part two was my weekly haul. Well, part two starts off with, and here we are for part two. And I figured that wouldn't be good for a video. But I was unable to get the two of them to join together into one video because it said I didn't have enough memory in my computer. What I'll do is I'll give you just a walkthrough of what that video was. And so let me see here. Jay Creature, they killed that man for a can of corn. Yep. We're going to see all kinds of things happening here in the near future. So I've kind of got an agenda here. Let me run you up with what I did get for the prepper haul for this last week. It won't be video. It'll strictly be audio. But I did pick up another box of ammunition. I am looking. I have priced. I've gone to about 4 different places, and I am pricing a Glock 21. So that's the 45 caliber version of Glock. And so I'm looking for the expanded magazine capacity, basically. And then 3 more Margaret Holmes red beans and rice. I did find 3 undented cans at Walmart. Hello, Bouger Prepper. And then a K-Cup box of Black Rifle coffee, Freedom Fuel. 1 jar of dill pickles, because we took a pair of dill pickles out of the long-term pantry and put it into our working pantry. So now we have to backfill, and I got a jar of dill pickles for that. A small box of canning lids. That's still right here in front of me. Gosh. So, we got the small canning lids because these fit on the, what is it? What's the name of the pasta sauce we use? Anyhow, the pasta sauce, Classico, Classico. We use the Classico pasta sauce, and that is a canning jar that they use to when they put that out on the shelves. So if you just get new seals, then everything's good to go. 3 large cans of tuna, 1 can of garbanzo beans. So then my Thrive Life order came in, and I want to talk about that for a real quick second too. I got a number 10 can of shrimp and a PC, that's the 2.5 can of cheddar cheese, a PC can of celery, and a PC can of tomatoes. So let me tell you, they're discontinuing shrimp. So if you want shrimp, it's like $12 off what it used to be. so that they can clear it out of inventory. And this is freeze-dried long-term, 25 years in the can. So a number 10 can, I think, is $68. Let me check here. I paid $63.26 for a number 10 can. And that's like 17 servings of shrimp. And these are large, so you're getting 4 or 5 shrimp per serving. Let me tell you the deal that Thrive Life has this month. So I'm going to ask you, if you're going to order from Thrive Life, send me an email first, okay? Because with Thrive Life this month, for example, you go down below, Lee's Prep, LeesPrep.thrivelife.com. Order what you want to order. If you order over $99, you get free shipping. Then join and get a code. Get a code that's to your website. So what happens is, because you went on my website, I get three free packages of instant food. If you refer anybody and they buy from you, you get 3 free bags. So what I would like to do is, instead of me getting a whole bunch of free bags, what I would like to do is kind of get a chain going, so that, everybody is getting free stuff. So if you contact me, if you're interested in buying anything, let's get that chain going, and I'll keep a track of all the people who are in it, so that everybody can get as much free stuff as possible. I think that's what it's going to be mostly about, is how much free stuff can we get for everybody. Okay, so Lori says, make sure to check your local Hispanic and Oriental stores. They often have great deals on rice and beans. Yep, absolutely. Then I got a small package of pulled pork and a small package of chicken salad. Both of those only have a shelf life of 2 years. However, they are an individual meal each. I showed that we got some, not Bridgeford, I forget the name of the company. I think it's Hereford, packages of brisket the week before. And I've been putting that over baked potatoes, and that's just fantastic. So the pulled pork, I plan on trying the same thing. Got a new holster for one of my pistols, and it's going to be, I just love it already. I love it. The only thing I don't like about it is it does have a finger lock. So you have to engage the finger lock to release it. But, that beats dropping it on the ground. When I sold my store, the new owner and I were in there one day, and I forgot to put a belt on before I left the house, and I always have my shirt untucked, and something happened, and I bent over, and my holster just fell out on the floor, and you should have seen her eyes, just ping, but anyhow, so so it stayed in the holster. That's the good news. Then I got 2 pounds of garbanzo beans, 2 pounds of butter beans, 1 pound of red beans. And then I bought a book, Helmet for My Pillow. And that's still here too. From when I tried to do that. So this is Helmet for My Pillow. And this is the story about a Marine with the 1st Marine Division and the Battle of the Tanaru River, which was at Guadalcanal in August of 1942. So that was our first island invasion was Guadalcanal. And the first attempt, so they were defending Henderson Field. To the east, there was the Tanaru River, and there was a major Japanese counterattack along the Tanaru River, and it was a banzai attack. So, his experience with a banzai attack for the first time in World War II. That's kind of what I did for the week as far as the prepper haul. So that kind of brings you up to date there. Item number 2 on my agenda is, let's have a quick talk about these bank failures and preparing for bank failure and the stock market and failure. And then I'm going to get into a knife recommendation for you. So here's the things that I think are critical, because we don't want to be part of the problem. We want to be part of the solution. We're preppers. We've been doing this for a while. So that means that there are some things that we have been doing that others haven't. And so we should not be out there trying to draw down cash at the banks or anything else, because we've been doing that for a while. I would also say that if you have less than $250,000 in the bank, it is FDIC insured. You may not have immediate access to it, but you will have access to it. That's one of the advantages of the 1929 stock market failure. Okay. Little Lone Prepper says she doesn't know what a bonsai attack is, but it sounds terrifying. That's when the officers drew their swords, the soldiers put their bayonets on, and they just ran at you en masse. So you would basically, the Marines would melt down because it got so hot. Because every time you put a bullet through a barrel, there's heat. And if you put too many bullets through the barrel too quickly, then you melt the barrel and it begins to sag and it's no longer any good. That's why all modern machine guns have interchangeable barrels. So you can change the barrel real quick after a belt or two of ammunition, let one barrel cool while you're warming up the other. That way you can have continuous fire. But for the first time that the Americans were exposed to a bonsai attack, that's just totally counter to our culture, that they would do a mass attack like that with swords and bayonets against soldiers with rifles and machine guns. So that's what that is. It's just a mass running attack. And that was kind of also what the Koreans did during the Korean War. Well, and it's also what the Soviets did against the Nazis in World War II. So it's just mass, a human wave coming at you, basically. So we don't want to be part of this run on the banks, okay? We have been preaching. Hopefully everybody's been listening and cooperating. Just get an extra $20, $25, from your ATM every time, every week, every month, whatever you can afford, and bring it back and keep a stash of cash under your pillow, and thank you, Diana. Keep a stash of cash. And so number one, get out of debt. Number two, get some cash, but don't be part of the problem. Remember, if we start withdrawing too much money, that's what causes banks to fail. There's only about 5 or 10% of the entire M1. M1 is money supply. So if you take a look at it, the vast majority of the money we have are electronic transactions. So it's just a debit transaction on an account. So when you use your credit card, that's an electronic transaction. There's no cash changes hand. It's just numbers, dots and dashes that happen on a bank's ledgers. And okay, so we have a question from Tracy. I'm going to vacuum seal my rice. Do I have to freeze it? Strongly recommended, or else you could get insects. There could be insect larvae that has not yet hatched. And so if you just go ahead and vacuum seal it without killing the larvae, then that can turn into an insect later on. So strongly recommend one of two things. If you're going to vacuum seal it, I would put one of those air, what do they call them? Oxygen removers in before you vacuum seal it. And both of those combined, that should reduce the oxygen down to where any larvae can live. But also, if you freeze it for 48 hours, that's enough to kill the larvae as well. So I hope that gives you an answer. I don't freeze mine, by the way. So as a matter of fact, we took our 4 pounds out of our long-term pantry and brought it in and put it into our working pantry just this weekend. So now on my shopping list, I've got to replace 4 pounds of rice. Okay, let me see. Triple G Farms is going to step out for a minute, couple minutes, we'll be back. Jay Creature, if I went to the bank without warning on a good day, they couldn't provide the value of my accounts. It's all a sham. It's hard enough to get 10K. I have no problem writing a check for cash for $1,000 at Texas State Bank. And I've done that on occasions. Especially when I know I'm going to go buy precious metals, because the guy I've been dealing with, I guess I've been buying from him for 20 years. He prefers, hello, Linda Bob. No, you're not late. You're always welcome at any time. He prefers cash. I'm one of the very few customers he allows to write checks, but he does prefer cash. So I try to get cash as frequently as possible. Um, See, Lori says the same thing I believe in, and that is, if you put it in the vacuum sealed bag in your, and I use just, what is it called? It's a vacuum sealer system. I forget the name of it. My daughter gave it to me for Christmas. But anyhow, and I put an oxygen absorber in there. So the two of those are good enough. And Lori says she does the same thing. So number one, reduce debt. Number two, get cash. Number three, precious metals. I have been saying for 20 years, and of course, there are those out there who have their trite expression that's way overused, where you can't eat precious metals. And you know what? I got bad news for them. Can't eat this either, but we value it. I just wish people would be, I've got a hair from my mustache or my beard or something in my mouth that's just tickling the living daylights out of me. They've been saying you can't eat it. And I always tell them, well, give me a recipe for your knife, and I think what it is, it's just a trite expression, meaning I don't see any value in it. Well, I think they're going to be eating their words here recently. So I just want to give you a quick overview of precious metals. Diana, so here is the thing. A credit union is not considered a bank. So they don't have FDIC insurance. The National Credit Union Association, NCUA, will give you a cash deposit guarantee. Okay. The same as FDIC. The difference is that the NCUA is a private organization, whereas the FDIC is a governmental organization. So as we've seen with the bailout of Silicon Valley Bank, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation just goes to the Federal Reserve and they say, print more money and give it to us. And they do it and they buy them out. Now, I have a problem with what has happened with Silicon Valley Bank, and I'll tell you my personal opinion. They are making everybody's value good. So he is making everybody's value good. There are people with millions of dollars in that bank. Now, my parents were products of the Great Depression. So whenever mom got, and she was the money person in the family, whenever she got more than $250,000 in one account, she took the new amount to a new bank and would open a new account. So when she passed away, I didn't have a complete list of everything she was, but I ran into Diane Fulmer, who was her CPA, and I ran into her at I forget where I ran into her. I said, "Oh, Diane, I'm so happy to see you." I said, Mom passed away. And she says, "Yeah, I saw that in the paper." And I said, I have no idea where Mom's money is. She says, "I know where it all is." So Diane was able to help us find all of Mom's money, but she had 6 different accounts because of the limitations on how much was insured with each account. And but I don't see why. You sign an agreement when you put money into an account and you're opening that account, you understand that it's insured for $250,000. So people who put more than $250,000 into an account, they knew it. So why should I, a taxpayer, have to pay for them losing money because they exceeded the amount that was insured? Why should you have to pay for that? I don't think that's our responsibility. If they wanted all that insured, they should have put it into several different banks. But anyhow, okay. So, and Lori loves her credit union. Yes, I have 2 credit unions. I joined one credit union in 1973. At that time, it was called Goodfellow Federal Credit Union. It was only on Goodfellow Air Force Base and in Texas. And I've kept it forever. And later on, when I was back at Goodfellow as an instructor in 1980, they changed their name to First Community Federal Credit Union. But anyhow, so that's that. I've done that. Then I have a credit union here. And so what happens is I come home, and if I have change in my pockets, I put it into a piggy bank. And then when the piggy bank gets full, I take it down to the local credit union and deposit it. And that's basically the college funds for my 3 grandchildren. Hello, Prepping with Sarge. So, I'm glad you're here. So you can add all kinds of commentary to this. So number one was get out of debt. Number two was have some cash. Do not go to the banks tomorrow and try to get hundreds or thousands of dollars of cash. You're a prepper. You don't want to add to the problems that we have. And people demanding too much cash and causing a panic on cash is what is going to cause the entire system to fail quicker than what it was. So, number three, precious metals. Now, precious metals come in, of course, two major breakpoints, and that is gold and silver. Then within the silver, you have other things that happen. So let's take the silver first. So one of the favorites of everybody is the silver American Eagle. It's called an ASE, American Silver Eagle. This is 1 ounce of 0.999 pure silver. Right now, the going rate for this is about $21. I'm sorry. That's the spot price for silver. ASE right now is about $36.12. Okay. So that's for 1 ounce of silver. The equivalent 100 years ago is what is called the Morgan silver dollar. So this is what, up until 1923, everybody carried in their pockets as U.S. currency. So these are considered coins, okay, because they are minted by the U.S. government. They have a $1 face value printed on them. These, on the other hand, are minted by a private mint, and they're called rounds. They are not called coins, they're called rounds because they do not have a printed value saying $1 or 25 cents or anything else. So this is a silver round. It's a 1 ounce, 0.999 pure silver round. So these silver rounds right now have a value of approximately $23.50 each. You can get silver in smaller denominations. I don't recommend you get anything larger than a 1 ounce. Now, there is one other variant, okay, from private mints. Instead of getting a round, you can get a bar. So this is the same thing as this. It's 1 ounce of pure silver, 0.999% pure. I'm sorry, 0.999, which is equivalent to 99.9% pure silver, okay? Yeah, silver and gold both are unbelievable. I can't, the vast majority of my inventory, prepping with Sarge, I got at 12 to 14. So when I take a look at my spreadsheet, I say, oh my God, I'm so happy I started this when I did. Now, when my dealer, sounds like a junkie, doesn't it? When my dealer sees me come in the door, he automatically starts looking for these little gems. This is called constitutional silver, okay? So I always buy, every time I go to see James Arnold, I pick up 5 mercury dimes. And so, these are probably about $2.10 each right now. But that I recommend getting these. If you're going to get into buying silver, this is probably the most economical way to get into it. Just see if you can't get some mercury dimes. They're very recognizable. It's the smallest increment I can think of on the market that's going to have any kind of value in a post-SHTF environment. If you read James Wesley Rawls's books, then he talks about using mercury dimes as barter currency, buying whatever, and he has complete rolls of them that he always goes for. Of course, the other thing that James always knows is I always want to try to see if there's any older stuff. So I have a series of about 4 barber quarters here that these are also 90% silver. So any of the constitutional silver, the mercury dimes, the barber quarters, the Franklin halves, the older pre-1964 Washington quarters, they're all 90% silver. So one of the things you also want to watch for is when you get silver, look on the side. They all have these corrugated edges on the side. And the reason is because when they used to have soft edges, they would peel some of the precious metal off, save it, and then give you the remainder. It was the total weight. But because these corrugated edges, now you can see if anybody's shaved any of the silver or gold off. Now, if you're going to get into gold, I prefer smaller increments of gold. And so my preferred instrument for gold is 1 gram. So this is a 1 gram coin minted by the US government. And this is a 1 gram slab that you can, I think this one's actually Turkish. Let me see here. No, it's IGR. So this one's German and this one's US, but this is just a bar, and so it doesn't have any cash value other than the weight of the gold. And this one actually has cash value as 1/20th or 1 gram gold piece minted by the US government. So the 1 grams right now are worth about $55. So each one of these is worth about $55. This one, on the other hand, whenever I find one, I pick it up. This is the 80% 2 peso gold piece, okay? So James always saves these for me, and then when they come in, he'll give me a call and I can run down there and buy them. But this is my favorite way to get gold. Besides the 1 gram bar, this and this are my two favorites. So the 2 peso gold right now is about $123 each, about $122.75 is what they're selling for each. So that's kind of the quick course on gold and silver. If you're going to get into it, get into it small, incrementally. Make sure you have cash. Make sure you have all of your other prepping needs taken care of before you start investing into gold or silver. So let me see here. Let me catch up with chat. Gosh, chat's gone a long way since the last time I was on here. I just got the same thing from my federal credit union here in the Austin area, Robinson Brooks, which is an Air Force base out of San Antonio. And they sent me a letter and said, hey, you've been inactive because I haven't been out. I don't have as frequent a change in my pocket as when I owned my store and I was buying cups of coffee or something, right there on the street, or stopping for tacos in the morning or anything like that. So I very seldom get out of the house anymore, so I don't have that much change. They said that either you do some activity or we're going to start hitting you with inactivity fees. And yes, this exact same thing. So I went down there and deposited, I think it was $13 worth of coins. Great advice, Linda. Be very careful of these places that are going to give you gold on account. You're investing in gold that does not exist. If you don't have it in your hands, it doesn't count. Now, I think Prepping with Sarge has a place he deals with primarily. James always uses AppMex prices when he and I are working together. So whatever AppMex is selling it for is what he'll sell it to me for. And so he uses AppMex, APMEX. That's one of the biggest that there is. I like Provident Metals. And the reason I like Provident Metals is because for veterans and military, it's no shipping fee. And they always give you, so you get quantity discounts. So, if you're just buying one, it's this price. If you buy 1 to 10, it's this price. If you buy 11 to 100, it's this price. And so if with the military discount, what happens is they always give you the highest quantity pricing, regardless of how many you're buying. And so I love that about Provident Metals, is that they give free shipping for military and veterans, and they give the highest quality or the highest discount possible. Let me see. So I know I saw that one. We shall see. We don't know. We don't know. All we know is that historically, if you read Furfall's books, if you read Selko Begovich's books, if you read any of the books about the people who have undergone current Argentinian collapse, Greek collapse, the Bosnian, Balkan wars, et cetera, what you find out and even in Venezuela and what's the other, Nicaragua, precious metals become extremely valuable. I know that when I was in Germany and I was driving from West Germany into East Germany to get into West Berlin. The Soviet guards, were always wanting either dollars or precious metals. I mean, you could buy an entire soldier's uniform for $5. If you had a $5 bill and gave it to him, he would strip right there at his guard post and give you everything he had on. I believe so. I think it's just 1 year. I think it's 1943. Prepping with Sarge. I could be wrong about that. Old gold, silver, and jewelry put away is fantastic. That is the way that the majority of Europeans kept their wealth, was in gold and silver jewelry and diamonds. So yeah, that's a very wise thing to do. Thank you, Lori. So yes, there is a market for imitation gold. So let me tell you, I did a purchase on eBay, and it was for a Chinese panda. So it was one of the marks that I wanted for numismatic purposes, for collectors purposes. And the panda is the national coin of China. So it's a coin. So the 1 ounce coin was worth about $75, and I won the auction at $5. So the minute I won the auction for $5, I knew it was fake. And so the minute I got it, I took it over to James, and he did a couple tests on it. He said, "Yep." He says, "It's not even silver plated. You got taken." I said, "Well, thank God it was only for $5." Well, I will tell you, Utah Mike, I purchased my silver at $12 an ounce. My average cost basis is 12 to 12.50 an ounce, and today it is worth 21.84. So it's gone up $9 an ounce. You tell me, is that preservation or is that growth? Um, Hello, Clarity Jane 31. Welcome. Now, you aren't going to get the growth like you would with a growth stock. Okay. So if you, I will concede that to you. However, you know, precious metals, especially silver, because silver is also a um, manufacturing metal. So, silver and copper right now for manufacturing metals, the prices are just unbelievable. They're really going up. Um, Triple G Farm says this crash may go long. In 2008, the first bank crash was in March, and Lehman Brothers didn't go down until September. I wholeheartedly agree. However, I think that there's a different emotion, and we have to take into consideration emotions and perceptions and reactions. And so I think because of what happened with Lehman Brothers and what people saw, that I have a feeling that there may be people wanting to dump out of the stock market before it happens and start selling their stocks. And of course, when you sell, prices go down. And the second thing is they may want to protect themselves and get cash out of their bank. And that's why I'm urging people here: don't go, close out checking accounts or savings accounts. If you want to get $25, $50, once or twice a week, fantastic. But then you're going to add to the problem if you start withdrawing large sums of money from the banks, because, as I said, less than 10% of the nation's M1 money supply, so that's everything that's on the books, is actually printed money or coined money. It's 90% of it's all um, electronic transfers. Hello, Prepper Book Club, welcome. And let me see here. So, Simon Templar, our bank is locally owned and operated, and we get a letter from them, and we'll continue to do traditional banking. Outstanding. That's great. I'm going to have to go to my mouse because my pad is not letting me scroll as easily as I would like to. There we go. Yes, always leave enough money in your bank to pay your bills, whether that be direct deposit, direct transfer, or whether it be cash transfers by a check or anything like that. I agree. I think that food, especially gasoline and things like that. So we've talked about precious metals. So now the next one down in my list of things to acquire is food. Just stock up on. I was listening this morning. I had my acupuncture at 8 o'clock this morning. So driving to the hospital, um, they had an advertisement on it. There's a ranch here in Central Texas that will sell you a quarter of a steer along with a 6 cubic foot freezer. And I couldn't write down while I was driving, and of course I forgot by the time I got to the hospital. But I've got to find out who this is that's going to give me a quarter of a steer and a 6 cubic foot freezer. For just under $1,000. So I think that sounds like a good deal. Um, Hello, Diana, too. Yeah, yeah, I didn't respond to you earlier. I'm sorry. Clarity Jane, welcome. Um, no. So what happens is quite often they can chemically make something that looks like gold and it isn't. So with silver, the tests are: does it hold to a magnet? And then I have a scale, and so then you do some measurements and make sure that the density, the weight, and the size are correct for that round or that coin, whatever you have. There is a gold purity testing kit, and it has 4 different chemicals. So you just scratch a little bit of the gold onto an emery cloth. Then you can test it with each one of the 4 liquids. And when it changes color, that's the purity of it. So typically it's going to be 24 karat, 18 karat, 14 karat, and 12 karat. And it'll tell you what you have. Take care of Prepping with Sarge. That was a great show Ewan and Alpine Preparedness did Saturday night or Sunday night about the glaciers down in Antarctica. And I sent her, the Daily Mail had an article today about one of the largest glaciers ever to pop off of the Antarctic shelf, about the size of London, popped off today. So that's really interesting. Thank you, Clarity Jane. We appreciate you being here. I wholeheartedly agree. Hard copies of books. I'm getting hard copies of the classics in case there's eventual total catastrophe, apocalyptic stuff, so I can give good reading to my grandchildren. Thank you, Prepping with Sarge. I appreciate you. Jay Creature. Yes, and so they're having to have guards. We've got, between here and the hospital I go to, they probably have 12 new 5-story apartment complexes going in. Yeah, I mean, it is unbelievable. Austin is growing just way too fast, and we don't have the infrastructure to support it. But gosh, they're building all these apartments, and so they have to have armed guards to protect from stealing the copper pipes as they are building this system, building the apartments. Take care, Lori. I hope everything goes well for you. I understand. Hello, Moonsprout. Welcome. Absolutely. So congratulations on that. Oh, I just got an email today that we're going to record an interview with Nutrient Survival sometime next week. And so look for that to be on the Nutrient Survival channel here in the next week or two. Get down here and see where we are. Michelle Mitten Prepper, hi. So she just did a not very long, 3 or 4 minute grocery haul. And gosh, did she luck out with some of her sale items. I strongly recommend that to you. Simon Templar says, let me see, where was it? There it is. Yeah, yeah. Um, so typically what's going to happen is they're going to tell you it's 24 karat and it's not. I was in talking with James one day, and this guy came in and he had a necklace, and he threw it down this was during COVID, and he threw it down on the counter and said, "I'd like to sell this." And so James did a purity test on it and a weight test on it, and he gave him an offer. He says, "Are you kidding?" He says, "That's only a fourth of what I paid for it." He says, "Well, that's the melt weight." And here's where we are. He thought it was 24 karat, and it turned out it was only 14 karat. And so you only get about half, and then of course you got all the other stuff tied into it too. So yes, so where the gold is, it comes in with the fake gold is actually in the purity level. They'll fib to you about the purity level. Hello, SJ Mullen, welcome. Um, Okay, let me see. Anybody tracking the snowfalls? Snow videos in Big Bear, California is crazy. Wow. One thing I do know is that hopefully all the snowfall east of Oakland in the mountains there by Livermore and that whole area. What is that? Interstate? I want to say it's Interstate 30 that goes east from Oakland up into the mountains. That we want that area to get lots of water because that's where all the lakes are that feed the water to LA via the California aqueduct. So the more rain they get there, the more snow they get there, the better off Los Angeles is as far as their drought. Um, Okay, Michelle Minton, veteran, is going to do a live tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, which is 5:30 time our time. So she's inviting everybody there, and I strongly recommend it. She has great lives. She usually gives away prizes to people who are there for her lives as well. And I just got a response to, something that I posted on her video. So Michelle Minton, veteran, just responded to a response on one of her videos. If the banks are closed and you need to pay bills, power, cable, propane, the bills you pay by writing checks for and mail out. Well, like I said, that's all. When you write a check and pay a bill, that's an electronic transaction. It's not a cash transaction. So 90% of our money supply is electronic, just like that. So if you're going to pay your bill by credit card or by check, have no fear whatsoever. It is good to go. The only thing they're concerned about is if people want to withdraw too much cash because there is not enough cash for everybody to get all their cash out of the banks. It's just not printed. It's not printed. It's not minted. It's just not there. It's converted over into a digital form. Like when you get your paycheck, a direct deposit paycheck, there's no cash transaction. That's just a digital. It's like me giving you an IOU for a nickel. It's just everything is bank transferred electronically. So no, so you can pay your bills through check, through credit card, or anything like that, no problem whatsoever. Thank you, Little Lone Prepper. Appreciate that. So 5:30 tomorrow night, Central, I think is what she said. 6:30 Eastern. Let me check back up here again real quick. Yeah, 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central. Michelle Minton Prepper on her YouTube channel. Okay, so and then the last one is keep gas. Keep your gas up to date. So we try to keep 2 5-gallon gas cans here. We are at the point now to where I used to be, I'd never let the gas tanks get below a half. Now I'm to the point where I don't like them to get below a quarter. So for example, yesterday we drove to Costco. So we're at Costco, so why not just gas up at Costco? Because that's down inside Austin. And, if we're going to have to drive to Austin and back, then might as well just go ahead and fuel while we're there. And same thing, whenever we go to Walmart, we'll stop at Murphy's and get gas at Murphy's. Now, what really sucks is when you only have a quarter of a tank of gas and you get the 10 cents off because of the frequent purchases at Murphy's, but it is what it is. Okay, so that's kind of where we are. Let me give you one or two other tips. My favorite home knife. So if you're going to what kind of alien? Are we talking about south of the border type aliens, or are we talking about from Mars type aliens. So we had the 1,000-person push at my hometown in El Paso. So over the weekend, and those were all, I believe, Venezuelans trying to get in. But, anyhow, my favorite knife, okay? This is around $54 on Amazon. I'll put a link down below. It is a little bit on the scuffed up side because I use it so much. But anyhow, I did want to tell you about, this is made in El Salvador. And so this is called Condor Tool and Knife Company. Everything about this looks exactly the same as my $250 knife, which is an LT Wright Genesis 2. Both of them have Scandi grinds. So notice how this comes down. Here, you've got the full thickness of the blade here. It comes down, and it comes down very sharp point. And then it's got a secondary edge here, okay? So in my opinion, if you are looking for a fantastic $50, and I think this is 1095 steel. I might be wrong. It might be A2 steel, tool steel. But if you're looking for a knife around $50, yes, it is full tang. There you go, the other end. The reverse slope of it is 90 degrees here. I guess I should use 2 fingers so that nobody gets the wrong idea. This is a 90-degree spine, so you can use it on a ferrocerium rod. It's a great knife. I love it. This is the one I reach for the vast majority of the time if I'm bushcrafting. And so Jay Creature says that he's talking about space aliens, and that is highly probable. There have been a whole bunch of observations here recently. So yes, I will put that link in the list when we get done. Now, the other thing I want to encourage you to do, and whether if you're getting a weapon, a firearm, make sure you get a cleaning kit. Make sure you have plenty of cleaning solvent, and make sure you get plenty of oil to keep your weapon oiled. I am going to tell you that with today's modern gunpowders, you aren't going to have quite as much fouling as you did even 20 or 30 years ago. So you don't have to keep it immaculately clean, but you do need to keep it from rusting. So you need to clean it every once in a while and oil it to keep it from rusting. And so anytime that you get a weapon, get a cleaning kit for that caliber and size. Make sure you have plenty of patches in case those become unavailable. I was wrong pre-cough, and what I said was that I thought that the hunting calibers would always be available. And then we had the lockdown, and during the lockdown, I could not find 30-06, I could not find 30-30, I could not find 270. Those calibers, those hunting calibers just did not exist. What you could find were the military calibers. So, if you get if you get a standard NATO round acceptable firearm, then chances are that those rounds will be commonly available to you. I believe that the Army may be in the process of changing their main battle rifle, and it may go from 5.56 to another caliber. I think they're looking at 6.5. I'm not sure, but there is a possibility that could happen here in the near future. But just be aware of that, and make sure you have a cleaning kit. If you get a knife, make sure you get a sharpening stone and a honing strop. Now, here's the difference. When you use a sharpening stone, you want your bevel on your knife to go the direction of the cut. So if this is my knife, thicker part of my blade here, and this is my point down here, and this is my sharpening stone, I want to push it into the sharpening stone. A secret: to get a 20-degree bevel on your knife, put a nickel between the back end of the blade and whatever. So you're going to have, let me pull out a coin, just any coin here. I'll pull out a round. So if you take and put a coin, a nickel, and then you lay your blade on that coin and then push this way, that's going to give you your 20-degree bevel, okay, which is very sharp bevel. Now then, so that's for sharpening on a sharpening stone. What I recommend, most of the time, you don't need to sharpen your knife every time you use it. Every Sunday, I hone my pocket knife. So for honing, you want to get a leather strop. And I have a two-sided leather strop. So this is my green, what's it called? Anyhow, I put the green stuff on this side. I put the white on this side. White is extra fine. Green is fine. And you can get red, which is real jeweler's grade. And that's super, super fine. Then you've got a couple other colors, black, etc. There's actually 5 different colors. And there's a gradation of how coarse the elements are in the wax that you put on here. The difference is when you're using a honing stripe, you don't want to push the blade into the stropping leather because you can cut it. Let me show you an example. I think I have one here. No, it's probably the other one. But anyhow, you can cut it if you push the blade into it. So what you want to do is you want to draw the knife away from that point, that bevel, so that you don't cut into your leather strop. And so that's, if you're going to get a good knife, get a good strop. If you're going to get a good weapon, get a good cleaning kit. So that's kind of where I have it for this evening. So the 5 things you need to do in preparation for stock failures or bank failures is: number 1, reduce your total amount of debt. Number 2, have some cash on hand. Number 3, have some precious metals on hand. Number 4, stock up on food. Food is going to be the most valuable commodity there is. Number 5, get some gas. And as I look over my shoulder, one of the things that Furfall down in Argentina and Soko Begovic in Bosnia talk about getting, make sure you have, because this is worth its weight in gold, make sure you have some antibiotics. And Triple G Farms can tell you about the value of antibiotics, because this stuff is just going to be, I think, critical for everybody's safety. I'm not afraid of my sanitation things in a post-apocalyptic world. I am afraid about what my neighbors will be doing, and that may spill over to me. So we'll take that from there, and let's take a look at the comments. We'll catch up on comments and see what all you would like to talk about. I don't know. I don't think so. That would not surprise me at all. It would not surprise me to find out that I'm not one. Yeah, getting the shorter 7.62 is going to be difficult. But then again, if you're an AK-74 guy and you have their 5.65, we have 5.56, they have 5.65 for their AK-74. So that is also very difficult to get. The problem is most of that stuff is made by Tula Ammo, and Tula ammunition works in Russia, so we're not getting that anymore. But they have steel casings, and steel casings are prone to rust, especially in comparison to the brass casings that we use. Bearded Eagle, welcome. Glad to see you. I understand that 6.5 Creedmoor is the flattest trajectory rifle that there is. And I'm interested in that. I noticed that Henry has a 6.5 Creedmoor lever action, what they call a long ranger. And I'm interested in looking at that. Yeah, mineral oil definitely will work. Any oil is better than no oil. Let me tell you that. Just if you're going to use motor oil, be aware it can burn. So you might have some extra flame that you don't want. A strop for old-fashioned razors is fine. It's fantastic. I have one in my bug-out bag. I prefer one that, because the old-fashioned ones, they curve. So you aren't going to get a consistent angle on whatever it is you're stropping because of the fact that it is curved. You got to hold it real tight in order to get that to work perfectly. That's why I prefer this. I don't have to worry about it. This has got a constant angle through the entire stropping. Oh, wow. Thank you. I'll have to take a look at that. So ZSR ammo is blowing up. Is that because they got too much powder in it? It's too much pressure, I wonder. Yep. Okay, so Jeweler's Rouge is the red one. That is the, gosh, I'm trying to think of what that word is. I'm sure Triple G Farms will tell me here shortly. Here, let me look it up on Amazon. Compound, polishing compound. There we go. Now I know what I'm talking about. So Triple G Farm says that for antibiotics, Jace is your best bet. So so let me tell you. The one thing I don't like about this is it's got a leather sheath. And I'm allergic to formaldehyde and formoterol. And both of those are the primary components used to tan leather. So if you ever look at me, when you see me out in public, you will notice that I have all cloth shoes, I have cloth belt, I have everything on me is non-leather. I don't have any leather on me at all because I'm allergic to it. So that's the one problem I have with a lot of the holsters and a lot of the scabbards for knives and stuff like that is that they're leather, and so I can't have a reaction to them. I heard, I don't know, I believe it's accurate. June or July of this year, the FDA says that your fish are going to have a prescription in order from a veterinarian in order for you to do that for them. Little Lone Pepper, I would say that probably around $2.25 per mercury dime, based off of today's price of silver. So remember that as the price of silver goes up, you're going to have the price of the dimes go up. Now, here's how our coining was built up until 1972. So the face value when it totaled $1 equaled 1 ounce. So this is 1 ounce of silver, but it's only 90%. So today's silver price of $21.84, this would be worth 9/10 of that. Okay, because it's 90% silver. So that means that now for 10 dimes would equal 1 ounce. Okay. So 10 dimes is equal to 21.84, but it's only 90%. So it's going to be 90% of that. So it's going to be somewhere around $18. Okay. So now if you got $18 and you got 10 of them, that's about $1.80 each. Now that's the spot price. So you're going to pay usually around a quarter as a commission to the person that you're buying it from. So right now it looks like the price of a mercury dime is going to be somewhere around $2. I wouldn't pay more than $2.10, $2.15. But use that formula: 10 dimes to an ounce, 90% silver. So 10 and then times 0.9. So 9.9 times the cost of silver, spot price of silver, and then add in maybe no more than a quarter for a transaction fee. Okay, so Global Ordnance stocks brass 76239. I don't have any brass 76239. I like the AR platform simply because that's what I carried for 21 years. Well, less than that, for 14 years, because the last 7 years I was an officer and carried M1911. But I can field strip them and reassemble them and everything else in a minute with my eyes blindfolded. So because I'm that familiar with the platforms, those are the two that I prefer. The M1911 and the M16 AR-15 or AR platform. So Triple G Farms says he's used canola oil on his AR in a pinch. And let me see here. Hello, Dragon Slayer. Welcome. Good to see you. And so, let me see. June. Okay, so June's the switch where you have to have a prescription from your vet for your fish to get antibiotics. So if you're going to do that, if your fish are going to get sick, have them get sick before June. Oh, I never filled my oxycodone prescription. So when they pulled my 17 teeth and drilled the 8 holes in my jaws to put my new teeth in, they gave me some oxycodone. I think they gave me 3 or 4 to last me, and that was it with no refills. But I didn't use them. All I used was tramadol, and oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Dragon Slayer. Um, yeah, that's always tough to deal with, and people mean well, uh, but sometimes I had a friend ask me why I didn't call, and I told him, I know you're inundated with calls, and so I thought I could support you from afar and pray for you, and that would be my way of doing it. And then I showed up, of course, at the wake and the funeral, but you know, you can get inundated, and just sometimes all you want to do is be alone and grieve. And and then if they want your presence or want you to be around, they'll let you know. And so that's my thought process is I try to let people be alone with their grief until they tell me that they want me to be around. Um, all right. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Uh, and so, just believe it or not, where is it? Let me see. I've got I've got my church bulletin here, and I don't know what I did with it. I don't know what I did with it. I've got the church bulletin. I spent not this yesterday, but a week ago yesterday. I spent 4 hours planning my funeral. The songs I want played, and the scriptures I want read, and everything else. And so I was kind of working on that. I want to be quiet because I don't want my wife to think that I'm being fatalistic or pessimistic. But I just want to get that prepared so that if she, if she outlives me, then I don't want her to have to worry about doing things. I'll have everything taken care of and planned for her, so that I'm not pressing that kind of a. I'm not putting that kind of stress on her to come up with something while she is in mourning. Hopefully, hopefully she'll be in mourning, but that can be. Um, Gosh, that can be so overwhelming. And you know, sometimes just a simple hug and a tear in your eye and a hug or a simple squeeze of the hand, just letting people know that you're thinking of them. That's that's all there is. And I understand that, Dragon Slayer. I will tell you, my mother was bipolar and not a very pleasant person during most of my life. But when she came down with dementia, she became a very pleasant person. So for the last 5 or 6 years of her life, she was extremely great to be around. She just didn't have any idea who I was. So I would stop by and get a 6-pack of donuts and go over and eat donuts and drink coffee with her. And all she wanted to do was get back to playing solitaire on the computer. But um, I was there. I was there, and I held her hand. So that's all we can ask for, I guess. And What we need to do now is for those of you who are here who are believers, if you would just do me a favor and add Dragon Slayer to your prayer list, that's going to, we need to lift her up because, this takes a toll on everybody, especially when you're dealing with somebody who has uh, memory problems. So, um, you know, we need to make sure that we're taking care of Dragon Slayer. So I would ask that all of you keep Dragon Slayer in your mind and in your prayers as she goes through this, helping her mother. So, oh wow! So my wife wants to be cremated and put in a brown paper bag, and then we've already, we've got mausoleum space already available. Um, she's Methodist. I'm Catholic, so we have different beliefs. The Catholics believe that at the second coming of Christ, that we're going to be raised body and soul. So your body can't be raised if you've been cremated. So for Catholics, we don't believe in cremation. We believe that we have to be buried physically, just like Jesus was. So that's a little bit of a difference between the two of us. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, I know it takes a toll on you, and please, please, please take care of yourself. Remember, get yourself away from it a little bit. I'm not going to ask you to go out and have a good time because that's sacrilegious. I'm going to ask you to just take some personal time and go out and the blue bonnets are in bloom here in Austin, and take a look at the beautiful flowers that are springing up. Take a look at the beautiful spring sky and the blue skies, and enjoy the temperate climate, and take some deep breaths, and take care of yourself. Read a good poem, listen to some good music, and take care of yourself, because you have to be strong, because you're bearing the weight for two of you. You're bearing her pain, and you're bearing your pain of her pain. So, you've got to take care of yourself and make sure that you're number one, because you can't take care of her if you don't take care of yourself first. So I hope I'm not being um, too fatherly there. I, uh, I sure hope that we can take care of you, and you, if you take a look, it's Cold War Prepper at Outlook.com. If you want to send me your phone number, I'll be happy to call you. We can do some prayers together, or we can pray for her, or any kind of support that I can give you. Please feel free to send me an email. I'll be more than happy to give you any kind of support that I can. Okay. I kind of do too, but sometimes people think it's inappropriate, and I heard somebody once say they didn't trust somebody because they laughed after they said something. And I think quite often that's a sign of, we're not sure of the statement. We're not sure of how you're going to react to the statement. And so, people sometimes laugh after they say something. So um, I try to be careful with my coping mechanisms, because I'm under. It only took me 69 years. I just learned it last year. That what I like in life is not what everybody else likes in life. So I have to be mindful of their needs and how they deal with things. So as we're getting ready to close here, um, the book of Exodus, chapter 6. Where are my eyes? Verses 24, 25, and 26. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you kindly and give you peace. So do me a favor. Um, and this applies to us as a group of common people here together on YouTube. We're all in this together. And so please be kind, polite, and respectful to each other. be thoughtful and mindful of each other. Help those who are in need of help, and give of yourself to those who need it. And don't be afraid to ask of those when you need help, because togetherness is the key. That's how we're going to get out of this. So, with that, if you'd all just keep Dragon Slayer in your prayers. She says she's okay. She appreciates our kindness, but just let's just lift her up and remember her as much as we can. And so, with that, thank you all for being here. Next week, next Monday, we're doing the book review of Steve Smith's new book, The Hostages of Fortune, Hostages to Fortune. And he is going to be here with me on screen live as we discuss his newest book, Volume 6 of the Stonebont series. I've got just a little bit more to read before I'm ready for it. Fantastic. Some of the things I really want to talk about are really, really phenomenal in this book. So, take care, everybody. Have a nice evening. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And if you really enjoyed it, share it. I will have the link for that Columbia River, or I'm sorry, I'll have the link for the knife down below. Okay, y'all take care. Bye-bye.